next? So let's go for it just very briefly, very quickly. From the buy-in, what do we see next for both the Hardys, Hook, Ethan Page, and the Guns?
I see Hook keeps winning. I don't see. I'm sorry to say, everyone loves Hook. Hook looks like a little kid. I don't see the special draw. I see the special build they're doing for him. I can't. He doesn't look like a threatening individual. Might be, but I don't see it.
Here's my thing. Now that you start with Hook, it's really funny because at the time that Hook debuted, Dominic Mysterio debuted, and he was the spily kid just running around with his dad who had a hood for a mask and then flipped it back, and everyone was like, "Yeah, that's what WWE's got. Look what we got. We got Hook." That's how it went. Hook has it's not where you start; it's where you finish, and the race still goes on, and there isn't actually a race between these two guys directly. But if you look at how Hook is like, people are like, hey, Hook's in. He's on the buy-in. That's cool. Versus Dominic, who didn't even have to be in a match, but still got booed the hell out by just walking out with Rhea Ripley. Like, it's amazing to see what Hot Commodity looks like. But I'd like to see the resurgence of Hook. I'd like people to be reminded of who he is. An undefeated streak, the only undefeated streak I know right now in AEW, because now that Jade's dropped where she was, let's see the guy go in there. Hey, who knows? We talked about a bit of a spoiler from the next match. Why not let Hook be the one to go on and take on Orange Cassidy and take that title, and let him be the move from one undefeated reign to another. Let him hold the title. Obviously, the Hardys are going to have Ethan Page as their bellboy right now. That's going to have a bit of banter. Probably see a bit of a face turn from him with that, because hey, you start to feel sorry for these guys, and then you start to cheer them in a weird way after they've been through a lot of hell. And the Guns, I'm just waiting for them to tag up with Daddy again, and that's just the way. I'm waiting to see Billy Gunn screwed on one way. I don't know what it's gonna mean because there's no titles involved anymore, but yeah, like it's the only thing that makes him relevant. No disrespect to Colton or Austin when I say that.
Yeah, I don't. At first, I was thinking, are the Hardys going to go on another tag title run? It's possible because there isn't really any real number one contenders for the tag title. But at the same time, one thing that you mentioned, AJ, is the parody with Ethan Page. Now they could either get involved in trios matches with him involved, or it's just going to be a thing of a really entertaining storyline with them just basically using Ethan Page as their bitch. As for as for Hook, yeah, I think that's a good call about the international championship. That would be a very interesting call. Would be even more interesting if Jungle Boy was in that mix, but at the same time, it doesn't. He doesn't really have to be. He could go for the TNT title, but we'll get to that on that part next because we're going to get to that match.
Yeah, so I mean, you keep saying send Hook for a title because the
I mean,
FTW title don't even mean
the
nothing
other
right now.
question I would say though is, what are AEW doing with that FTW title? Is it
I don't.
another
It was
version
a
of the
gimmick.
24?
It was a gimmick for Team Taz. The defending has always been in house. There is no Team Taz. It means nothing. That's the real.
Okay.
Right.
So
So,
could it be time for him to actually hold a
oh,
world
sorry, my
championship?
bad.
Yeah. So if that's the case, the reason why I asked that question, this is why I say I think what you said just is literally the icing on the cake, and I'm going to end it on what you said. Being as that, and this is the reason why I asked that question about the FTW championship, because being as that is the answer, I think it's time for him to hold a real championship. Benito.
Okay, guys, the international title. So we're talking Orange Cassidy. We're not going to mention every single person in that match because they were cannon fodder for the match. It's all about the defending champion at this point. As I said, it's kind of linked with the buy-in as well. I see Orange Cassidy dropping it next, and why not give Hook a little extra edge, make him look like a heel, like let him really screw up. I'm trying to be PG here. Let him really mess up Orange Cassidy, take the win that way. That's the way I see it, and that gives him a new character, extra edge, still undefeated, and a bit of gold.
With that, it's a good call to having, like, for instance, Hook going for that, and having Orange Cassidy being Orange Cassidy, taking Hook as if like, yeah, we're just gonna kick shins, and Hook just hooks him into a chokehold and just puts him out. So yeah,
That,
I
yeah,
would see that.
I mean, if Hook ain't gonna hang around with the Hardys as such, then the next thing for him probably would be a title.
Against Cassidy.
Going for Orange Cassidy. But at the same time, we've been constantly hearing about Jungle Boy wanting to go for a singles title as well. Now, the funny thing is between the two of them, either of them, I feel a heel turn coming somewhere. Whether it's for Jungle
We're
Boy,
almost there. We're almost there. We're almost at the four pillars. We're gonna get to your question. That
no,
close.
no, no, no.
Just hold up,
Yeah,
hold up.
I know we're gonna get to that question, but in what next for Jungle Boy, I'm not really sure who his next gonna
Orange
opponent is.
Cassidy. Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy,
We're
sorry.
talking about.
It's very hard for me to determine who his next opponent will be. I do think he's gonna drop it to who I'm torn between two people. That's it.
Do you know if he drops it as well, he may be like with all those victories, he might be a number one contender for MJF. But hey, that's another what comes later. Okay, some great guys: Chris Jericho, Adam Cole. We won't talk about Sabu because I know that was a one-off appearance. Dead. I see your hand up there, giving a boom.
Oh no, I just giving a boom because
Oh,
I
why not?
see nothing but goodness. I don't know what's gonna happen next for him, but whatever it's gonna be is gonna be great. And I'm talking about
Adam Cole.
Bull, Adam Cole, baby. He's a star. I'm not gonna talk about Jericho because Jericho, as I stated before, is a Rushmore. He's gonna keep elevating stars. He's gonna just work with young people, make them stars. He's gonna create a new gimmick and just make new stars and go on and go for so forth. So it's all good for everyone right now. I can't think what to do but new, but it's all gonna be good.
So the only question I ask you, Leon, before I give mine, and I know you've got more depth, that's why I'm going to leave you to finish this. Is Jericho Appreciation Society still a thing?
It is still a thing, yes.
Cool. So then my call on this would be straight up. It's literally whatever they're going to call the Undisputed Era point two or AEW version of the Undisputed Era versus their JAS. That's what I see. It's not over just yet. These guys are going to go on. I see the Outcast and the JAS taking on Brit and her small faction along with the Undisputed Era. We talked about it on our previous show with Night of Champions. We like to see intertwined storylines. Let this be a way to gather an intertwined storyline. You've got the female part of it, you've got the male part of it. They've got their own separate factions within it, but they're intertwining. They help each other out. They attack each other. It's fun. It's happening already. I could see it going on for another pay-per-view.
If you watched Dynamite, you may just be right, AJ, because there was a mixed tag match between Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus Saraya and Chris Jericho. Um, so this is probably going to continue between the both of them. I would have liked to have thought that Adam Cole, after that match, beating him at the pay per view, beating him on Dynamite, that Adam Cole would go on to be MJF's next opponent, which would be very interesting. But unfortunately, I don't think that is the case. I think this is going to be a continuing rivalry, and that's where I think what's next for the both of them. It's going to be a continuing rivalry.
Can we also remember Rebel's part of Britt Baker's stable? It's not just Jamie Hayter. Like, give the girl some credit. Anyway, we move on. The tag team scene, FTR and then Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett and everybody else they've got standing behind them. You want to run with it?
Right. I don't think I've really got much to say on this one. I don't really know where Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal are going to go next in this. Um, but what I will say is that they've had two chances at the title, so now really and truly they should be back at the line, or maybe start a rivalry somewhere else with someone else. Probably help bring them up, or just to make things interesting. Um, as for the reigning defending AEW Tag Team Champions in FTR, um, well, the acclaimed have made a stake into the trios title without going too much into it because I know we're going to go into what's next for them. So in terms of tag team titles, I don't think they're focused on the tag titles for now, which is why I was thinking maybe the Hardys would be the next opponents for FTR. Um, whoever the next opponents are, I think FTR are going to be booked strong and they're going to be continued to book strong. Maybe maybe until All in the UK, I would say. But for now, I just think they're just going to be kept strong until they come to the UK.
I see FTR teaming with CM Punk for the trios title
That's bold.
someday.
That is bold.
Hey, but Punk and FTR are friends. Not
Yeah,
many
and it's money.
friends,
It's money.
and they're friends. And then what happens if they get the trios title? That's three of them. There's a certain team that's got three people: Super Kick Party and a
A
belt
cleaner.
collector.
Yeah.
So the cleaner means so yeah, hey, that's a trios and trios. That makes a reason for the triple threat.
I
Not
will
triple
say
threat.
Trio.
Three and three.
Trio.
the
Trio. Yeah.
Acclaimed made a very emotional speech on Dynamite last night, and at the focal point of that speech or promo that they said was basically how much Billy Gunn has given to the business, and basically they think he deserves to hold a title one more time, which makes me think they're going to be the next contenders for the trios title. But it would be very interesting if FTR and CM Punk uh, go for that as well, because we don't know if CM Punk's going to hold a world title again in this run.
Interesting. So Jay Lethal and Jeff, there's a strong chance that they might actually end up clashing each other. One goes as a heel, one goes as a face, and they help build stars separately in that way. I think you also called a good one, Leon. FTR versus the Hardys, and Ethan Page might
I
just
can
cost
see
them the
that.
title or help them win the title by accident, trying to screw them, but helps them win. It's not going to be a long feud. It's just something that just moves on. And even if they drop the tag titles, it allows for what then called Punk and FTR to go and search for some different gold. But I think that would be following a certain feud before they go for the gold. I think the feud will come first. But we move on with that. Yeah, I don't know about the Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal faction.
Hey, don't forget about. Oh yeah.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Black Machismo can make his way back. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. Right, let's keep it moving real quickly. The hot potato title: Wardlow, Christian Cage. Which way do we see this going?
Christian got to feud with someone. Wardlow powerbomb a couple more people.
As I said, I called it before. I kind of let it slip in the earlier part of the prediction show. I see Christian helping Luchasaurus do it, and that's where you see a
Yes.
dominant, like a new style of Luchasaurus. He's a monster with something to defend. And you talk about Leon, Jungle Boy wanting some gold. This kind of spells its own story. And now, once Wardlow has dropped gold, let's just say that there's a certain champion who he's been affiliated with that he may be saying, I beat you before to get my contract. I can beat you again to hold gold. I'm just saying.
Ooh, Maxwell Jacob Freeman.
Look at it. Both guys will have history
I mean,
with in it.
I find that
Yep.
interesting because I can't really say anything to top that. Although the one question I will ask is, what champion do you take to help build up Collision? They're not going to add any more titles there. It just wouldn't make any sense. It'd be pointless because Ring of Honor titles are also defended on AEW. So, well, used to be before they had their own show, but every now and again you see certain appearances. Now, again, what champion do you take to represent Collision when it starts? Is it the Atlantic? Is it the TNT title?
It's interchangeable. You
Um,
pick one. It's like Raw and SmackDown. It, uh, if I had to really pick, I'd probably go Atlantic because it's the newer belt. So put the newer belt on the newer show. But it all
yeah.
depends who's more red hot to cause an attraction, and you
If
could
that's the
make it
case,
happen yourself.
yeah. If that's the case, because I was going to say maybe Christian takes Luchasaurus to just run through the division at Collision before he goes back to face um, Wardlow for the TNT title. Um, that thing you were saying about building up wrestlers before they go to get the actual title. That would be somewhat interesting. But then, what do you do with him and CM Punk? So it's very questionable in terms of who goes on the show, who represents it, let alone the champion. Um, I don't know what's probably next for Christian and Luchasaurus. Uh, but in terms of Wardlow, I see another interesting title defense.
Cool. Okay, we move on. Well, Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm. What do you see for them?
Right. I'm gonna have to dip, but before I go, I'm just gonna give a quick rundown on each match because I'm just nice and quick, if y'all don't mind. I'm just going with this one. Jamie Hayter gonna go off, get fixed up, come back, and do her thing and do what you do best. Tony Storm is gonna go out there and show that she's a champ. Everyone knows Tony Storm's a champ, and just take on all comers and hopefully build and get the division better than what it is right now. Moving on to the next match quickly. Sorry about this, y'all. I hope you don't mind. House of Black are gonna just keep going and doing their thing and just hopefully they the House of Black becomes better than it is. I had a big talk about it, but it just seems like it's just a couple of guys just like wrestling. I don't see nothing big from them. I don't see the big deal, but that's just me. Hopefully it becomes big in this trio style. Hopefully it becomes a really big deal because right at the moment, it's just you got too many wrestlers, so you just make a trio style. That's why I'm seeing it. Moving on, Jade. I want Jade to just go have a rest, get relaxed, come back. And I don't know what character you're going to come back as, but whatever it is, going to smash it. And I don't remember the name of the person she wrestled. That's really bad. I am so sorry.
Taya Valkyrie.
Taya Valkyrie. Never heard of you before today. Hopefully I hear more about you and you go and get better and just do what it is.
John Morrison's wife, for reference.
Okay. Wow. Okay. MJF is just MJF. He's going to go out there. He's going to cuss everyone. I think I don't think. MJF has already re-signed. He has signed a new contract with AEW. It's his gimmick to be I hate the boss. And hopefully him and Punk can get to work together now that Punk's back. And Punk actually likes MJF. So they could work together and do some things on that and just do what they do to make it really, really good. And going with the Elite, go for the trio title again. Make that title something, but not the actual champions that they are right now. I want them to go up against like the Daddy Ass and them lot to go up against hopefully, as I said, FTR, Punk and everything like that. Blackpool Combat Club, disband. The Blackpool Combat Club was created because someone was from Blackpool and he's no longer there. I'm looking at it and you just look like a bunch of WWE fighters that think you're tough. You are tough, but to me, it doesn't look like nothing much. I need to watch the product and find out more. And to jump on the final point, the question Simmzy you've been trying to ask all along, who do I think would turn heel first? Would it be Jungle Boy or what's his name with the half paint?
Darby Allin.
Darby Allin. I see Darby Allin one day turning on his dad, Sting. Yeah, that's right. They're gonna have a tag match or something, and Darby's gonna start showing fire and start getting annoyed at this man still telling me what to do. It's been years. I know what I'm doing. He's gonna be that petulant child that's slowly gonna just Sting going, okay, do your thing. And then he's just beat down on Sting. How else can you get better heel heat of beating down the guy that's been trying to help you the entire time? And Sting would happily take the beating to help his son grow. That's me. I'm out.
Right. His bastard son grow. Oh, no.
Love y'all.
Thank you very much.
Sorry to duck out so early. And I hope y'all take this from me.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Scorekeeper, he's out. See ya. Okay, so it's down to two men, the first champ versus the current champ, but we keep it going, we keep it moving, we keep it rolling. So we were currently at Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm. What do you see next with these two ladies?
Yeah, I see Jamie Hayter recuperating, getting better, and then making a strong comeback. Apparently, when she comes back, they are literally going to put the rocket on her again and send her to the moon. So it's all about her just focusing on getting better. And I hope she does get well soon. It was very gutting to see her lose the title, given that AEW are coming to London, because that was part of her dream to come in there as champion. they may have a rematch at All In. Um, and if that's the case, could she win it back? It all depends on her recuperation. The thing is for the type of injury that she has, I don't think she would make it in time for All In. Maybe a cameo role, but I don't think in terms of safety and so that she doesn't get injured too early again, that she's going to be involved in a match. Um, but really and truly, I just want to see her just heal and get better. Really, she's one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW. Uh, she's like the female Bradshaw, incredible wrestler. Strong and she literally could be. She was the face of the company and could continue to be for years to come. It's great that Tony Storm has got the title because it kind of solidified her reign as champion because this whole interim stuff, you know, maybe she felt a bit hard done by or what I see why it makes sense with her having the title as well. And maybe they will have a match at All In. I don't know. But for now, I just see her recuperating. Probably be a couple of months. So she'll be off TV maybe for a few months. And as for Tony Storm, she'll probably hold that title until Jamie Hayter is fully healed. So I see her holding that title for a time.
So I can't really disagree with much that you said. My whole thing is that I believe if you want to get the crowd bumped, it's give Jamie the chance to win it back at All In. That's kind of the way. If the injury doesn't permit it, I'm not too much with words. I feel that I don't know why, but I feel there could be a part where, for some reason or another, Tony Storm has to release the title for maybe I don't know. There's something though. She has a fake injury that like she needs to. If she doesn't choose to defend it, she won't be there. And I believe we could get Saraya versus Jamie Hayter for the title because to have two British ladies for that title in Wembley Arena would be huge. How it's going to work out, I don't know, but I do actually see Jamie Hayter winning back that title in the UK. I could be completely wrong, but I think that's the nice story of overcoming what it was and getting the fans on an absolute mad one. Okay, let's move on. Oh,
I was
sorry.
gonna say it would be like the British Bulldog and Bret the Hitman Hart all over again. And funny enough, it took place at that very same stadium.
There you
The
go.
arena would probably have to reconstruct Wembley Stadium again because it would absolutely pop if Jamie Hayter came back and won that title. Who
Listen,
knows?
it's a good thing it doesn't have a roof. That's what I'm saying. That's
Exactly.
what I'm saying. Okay, so we move on to the trios, the House of Black, and let's talk. You could talk the Acclaimed as well, and Billy Gunn.
Yeah, obviously, I think that will probably be the next match. I don't know whether it will happen before All In or whether it will happen at All In because the Acclaimed are that good enough to be booked for that type of match, a title match at that as well. Um, at the same time, it would be probably interesting as well deserved if Billy Gunn gets to have that final championship run. Doesn't have to be a singles title, doesn't have to be the world title. Though that would be very interesting as well, because really and truly, how many world title shots has Billy Gunn had over the span of his career? But realistically speaking, I think, and being obviously at his age as well, I don't really see the trios title is a good shout. It's just as an important much as a title, which is why the House of Black hold it right now. And if you look at other divisions, trio titles is a big thing. Um, so I think that will probably be the next match. It'll be the Acclaimed versus the House of Black for the trios title. And I think that's what's next for both teams.
Interesting. I mean, it's funny. I can't put just like I can agree with what you're saying, but I just see House of Black still being there. Not in a bad way, but I feel we need a new team to really take that trios title. Yeah, we can give Billy Gunn that approval and that praise. If he is going to win the trios title, he's got to do it with his boys. He has to do it with the Gun Club. One last time. Right? It would just be that more fitting for me personally to see it that way. I just see the House of Black doing something I like. It's just got an interesting gimmick I like. I don't know too much about Brody King. Julia Hart, I just about know as well. There was something about her that I found interesting on the rare times I have watched AEW. But Bonnie Matthews and oh my god, Malachi Black, they've just carried on the gimmick that they had, and I've loved that about them. And I've just like that they've expanded on the dark side the way they have, and that's what I love about House of Black. So I just want to see more from that. The Acclaimed are just going to continue to be entertaining, and I believe if they, yeah, as I said, there has to be a separation from Billy for my dream to come through. If I want to see that Trios title go that way, who knows? Maybe it could go back to a more established version of the Acclaimed and the Guns that they could get on, and they're like, yeah, we respect your dad. That's the way you guys go. You know, kind of like how the Usos step back to let Kofi go for the title. They're like, go for it. This isn't our party. This
You
is
know
you
what
guys'
would also,
party.
you know what would also be interesting? The Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase Senior, and Hardcore Holly situation. So the Acclaimed win the trios title, and then they go to face the Guns with a surprise opponent, right? So they all get in the ring,
Yes.
and then Billy Gunn turns on the Acclaimed and becomes the new trio champion with his son.
Yeah, that I like. That I like.
That would
That
be very
I like.
interesting as
That
well.
would be nice. That would be good. That would be a way for Billy to bow out. That I like. Well played. Well
Because
played.
it keeps the Acclaimed as ultimate favorites and baby faces, and the Guns get the heat that they really should be. They should be getting Dominic heat. You know, they're young, so they're at that level where they should be getting that type of Dominic, or if people had watched Dynamite, Don Callis type of heat, because Don Callis's heat was that of Dominic's on AEW Dynamite. I mean, every time he spoke, he literally couldn't speak. That's how bad it was. It was nuclear. And this is the kind of heat that the Guns should be getting, really, as heels.
Do you know? I think having Billy back with them, he could bring that extra edge. He knows how to be a heel. The New Age Outlaws have dominated that. DX done it until it became too much that you had to love him. The Acclaimed have enough character to not need Billy Gunn. Respectfully to his boys, they just need Daddy Ass to elevate it that little
Yes,
bit
they
more for
do.
them. So
They do. That would be the proper heel run, and they would have their dad to solidify it because he was one of the greatest heels in WWE. He was one of the greatest heels in TNA as Voodoo Kid Mafia. So, let's make it a third time lucky, but this time with his flesh and blood.
yeah, I'm down with that. Oh, this one's a bit of a hard one to call for what's next. Jade Cargill and Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah, I think then the Tech pretty much hit the nail on the head with this one, and I don't think I have anything to add to it. Jade is away with to go and have a well-deserved rest. You think about that run 60 and 0. That means she's been wrestling for the best part of a year, day in, day out, without any question. And so, but with every wrestler, sometimes they gotta go away and heal. And the best of wrestlers have done it. From The Rock, from Shawn Michaels, to Bret Hart. Every single one of these wrestlers have gone away to take time to heal and come back. So if it's Jade's turn, so be it. May she get the time. Because, we're talking about, we were literally talking about mental health at the beginning of the show. If it's time to take a rest, it's time to take a rest. We don't need streaks to go to 100 just to match it with Goldberg's or somebody else's also. Rusev, um, aka known as Miro now, had a good run. It didn't go to 100 as United States champion, but it was still a strong run. It was still a memorable run until he faced John Cena. So you don't have to take wrestlers that far in order for them to perform. They can still do what like Jade done. And then obviously, if it's time for them to take a break, it's time for them to take a break because the last thing we want is for a wrestler to get injured where it now questions their career. It's happened with Daniel Bryan. It's happened with Saraya. It's happened with Big E. We have to protect these wrestlers. So if this is the rest that she needs, then that's the rest that she's going to be getting. And if she
Yeah.
comes back as a new character, that'll be very interesting as well.
Do you know
As for
what?
Tyler,
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
No,
As for
you're right.
Ty,
You're right.
as for Taya Valkyrie, is she officially all elite now?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was thinking maybe she's gonna go and dive back into other promotions like Ring of Honor or so because of the fact that AEW do
Well,
own that. And I think maybe she may be the one to go and face
Athena.
Athena. Thank you. That would be very interesting. I don't really see. Oh, actually, no. Tell a lie, tell a lie. I just remembered something on Dynamite when Chris Statlander she was defending the TBS title with Nyla Rose, and they panned backstage, and guess who was having an interest in that match, looking on like,
Miss Valkyrie. Yeah.
Taya Valkyrie. So maybe the next thing for Taya will be Chris Statlander, and I think that might be the next thing for Taya Valkyrie. She couldn't beat Jade, so maybe this is her chance of getting a title in facing Chris Statlander.
Do you know what? I'm gonna go 2 for 2 on you because most of the stuff you said I agree with. I think Taya Valkyrie would be the next contender because it would be I weakened her for you. You beat an undefeated woman in less than a minute. That's thanks to me. Where's my title shot? You're welcome. So that literally gives you Chris Statlander and Taya Valkyrie. I reckon Statlander will go over because they're trying to. You can't just have such an undefeated strong streak followed by like a 2 match feud, you know. So they might have a bit of a back and forth. I'm going to steal something Nico said before. Take the outcasts and make them really dominant, and right now they own the gold. And what can make it really interesting is that while they are dominating the women's division, knocking out everybody, that is when you have a healed Jade Cargill come back as the woman who helps bring down the outcast. There could be a point that, maybe you have Taya Valkyrie, maybe you have Saraya win the TBS title. Okay, it's not the order we'd want it in. You'd want Saraya as main champ, Tony a second. It doesn't really matter. You do that, have them holding all the gold, dominating people, breaking everybody down in the AEW division because they were like the female NWO. And it's Jade Cargill to be that person, to be their Sting, their challenge. This is the landmark. You want to do it? If it weren't for injury, I've still done it. It was 2 matches one night. Let me take out the outcast. So
I
that's
could
what
level with you. I could level with you on that. So, being as Ring of Honor is tied with AEW, Surveyor could have the World Women's title, Tony Storm could have TBS, and Ruby Riot could have the Ring of Honor title. It can still be possible. And that's what makes things interesting when companies are merged. It makes so much possibilities, and
yeah.
it helps make factions even stronger. You know.
But I do agree as well. In the long run, I see Taya Valkyrie more of a Ring of Honor star than an AEW star. I don't know why. It's just the vibes I get from her. So that I believe is what would be next for her. Okay, this one's going to be quite interesting. The 4 pillars: MJF, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy. What do you see next for them?
Jungle Boy, I see him possibly going for another title. Sorry, a singles title. Whether it is the International Championship or whether it is the TNT Championship. I don't see him in the world title picture at the moment. I think it's the same for Darby Allin. I think you know he's another one that can go down that same path. I mean, obviously, I just spoke of 2 people who I asked who's most likely to turn heel. And at the same time, in the question of what's next for them, those 2 are on the same path, Jungle Boy and um, Darby Allin. They're on that singles title path. How they take that path is very interesting. Maybe Darby will turn on Sting. Maybe Jungle Boy will turn on Orange Cassidy. Either way, I see a different type of singles title path for them, the working titles, if you will. For Sammy Guevara, I'm really not sure what's next for him. Maybe he makes a feud with someone else, but it doesn't really seem like he's concentrating on singles gold at the moment. I think with the fact of his wife Taya, Taya Conte being pregnant, his wife, he may take some time off and go and be a daddy with his wife. As for MJF, it will be very interesting to see who his next opponent may be, um, because it could be Wardlow. That would be very interesting, being the history that they had. It could be Jungle Boy. It could be anybody. But either way, I see MJF just being strong, booked strong, and holding that title for a very long time. He's definitely walking into All In with that championship. That's for damn sure.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So like breaking it down, I'm gonna agree with Den. I see Darby Allin turning sooner than later. That he just has that element to be that insubordinate one and go heel. Jungle Boy, I see it. It's gonna take a while. He might be like floating about, just always a fighter, always like a resilient kid. But once Luchasaurus takes that TNT title, you've got that. MJF, I don't know how it comes up and how it builds, but I see the feud reigniting between him and Wardlow. Sammy Guevara is the odd one for me. I think he's good because the Appreciation Society is so big. It's kind of hard to say that them versus the short of it being the elite slash the undisputed elite as it was meant to be. Short of you taking it to those numbers, you are Sammy's got enough to be star power and be like, as you said, the rogue of the team. He's with the heels, but he's lovable, and that could be. He just performs on his own and maybe
Mm.
floats between the titles. He's even challenging or feuding with, let's say, Hook for the title,
Yeah,
and it's weird because Hook would be the heel, it's heel on heel, but you're just slightly cheering him to win. He's done TNT, so that's not for him now. And he builds in that feud. Let's see, could he be the one to end the undefeated streak of this madman? So that's it. But obviously, as you said, he's going to be a dad. There's a small break in between that as well. So
that's very interesting you say about Sammy Guevara, because if you look at the JAS, he's almost like the Rock in the Nation. He literally outshines that group. Like
yeah,
really and truly, I don't think he needs the JAS. He was big before he joined them, and he obviously got bigger as he joined them, and he's literally a superstar now. Um,
yeah.
the type of wrestler that can take a loss and it doesn't do anything to his career. He's literally at that status. Um, and then the other thing is the whole heel turn thing. Yes, that is a possibility with Darby Allin, but there was a point in, I don't know if you've seen the match,
No,
but
no, no.
there was a point in the match. Obviously, it was just Jungle Boy and Darby Allin, funny enough, in the ring. Darby had his back turned and he was trying to get himself up. And Jungle Boy had the belt in his hand because he got it off of MJF. And there was a point where he was thinking, do I hit him with it? Do I not? Obviously, there's that thing of him being told he doesn't have that killer instinct. But then in the end, he just threw it out like, no, I couldn't do it. So they're teasing something between them two, definitely. Um,
Interesting.
but I agree with you in terms of Sammy Guevara. He's the only one where I'm like, I'm not really sure what he's going to do next. I would like to think he's going to focus on the birth of his newborn child with um, Ty Conti. But other than that, yeah, not really sure.
Cool. And then we take it to the main event, the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a continuation of this. I don't think it's over. Uh, there's talks about Kenny Omega. Apparently, he's not in the country, and he's not in Canada either, which can only mean that he's possibly gone to Japan to go and seek a bit more help for the elite. Word has it, is he talking to the Kenta Ibushi?
Kota Ibushi, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, he's going to try and persuade him to become all elite. Whether that's a part of the situation of him joining the elite to come to all elite wrestling is a question. But my thing is, how long is he left the country for? Uh, is this a work or what is it? Because it's just kind of left undone, which means this rivalry is definitely not over. The Blackpool Combat Club has Takeshita joined? Has he not? Is Don Callis part of it now? Is he running the Blackpool Combat Club? or is it an affiliation? Is it an alliance? What is it? We still don't know. Either way, they're all moving together in the same group, which means the elite are outnumbered. Maybe that's why Kenny's gone to Japan to try and seek numbers to get strength. But I see this continuing for at least a couple more weeks or so, maybe into All In as well. And this rivalry is going to continue.
Yeah, I don't think you're too wrong. I know that Den talks about the Elite versus Kenny and FTR, CM Punk and FTR, which is all kinds of cool. But one thing scares me about that one, the Elite's back to 4 people, and even if FTR and Punk could find it, that fourth person, let's be honest, that fourth person is where the major heat stands with CM Punk, and that is what makes it very, very awkward. Obviously, Kenny's like the face of the Elite, so everyone knows, and that's the match that everyone wanted to see at one point. But could they do business in a multi-man match, knowing that like people are going to see what happens between Page and Punk? So that kind of delays it. But I do agree with you. I also agree with Dan. I kind of feel like the Combat Club, it's just there's a certain edge. I've not watched the products, I don't know, but it feels like there's a certain edge missing from them on face value. In ring, they can all show that they're monsters. But maybe I'm just looking at their old WWE gimmicks and expecting them to be like trying to play tough. But they're doing stuff. People are talking about them big time. They've main evented. They're all champions in their own right. So you can't disrespect them. And yeah, I see the feud continuing myself.
What I hope they don't do with the Blackpool Combat Club is make it similar to the WCW version of NWO, where anybody and everybody's just joining. We are now
Yeah,
at 5 now, I think. You've got
yeah.
Brian Danielson, you've got John Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, and now possibly Takeshita as well. That's 5, including a man possibly managing in Don Callis. Are we going to have a 7th and 8th now? How big is this group going
Well,
to
listen,
become?
that's bloodline numbers, so it's not to say it's out of the question. It can make for good TV.
It
It could
can.
make.
It
So
can, I agree. But then are they going to be in a position where all of them are holding titles or all the elite? Because that will also be interesting as well. But for now, this is a feud between the both of them. I think what I'm saying will happen after that rivalry. But for now, I think there's more to come. There's not much really more I can really say about them. They're definitely not in any world title picture for now, tag team trios or singles. So yeah, this is another
listen,
rivalry.
that Takeshita turn and surprise obviously means there's more to come. So I totally agree with you. It levels up to a new level in the feud, and I think the Golden Idols could be a thing as well, because I believe that the Golden Idols, Kenny, C Kid, Kota, Kota Ibushi as that one extra guy. Don't get me wrong, Adam Page is just around the corner, but I think that would be the extra, and it opens up. Let's be honest, by bringing a guy like that in, it opens up a forbidden door. So, and that is obviously, I believe, the next pay-per-view for AEW, and that's big. You've got a mixture of AEW and New Japan guys tagging up to take on a mixture of Ring of Honor, AEW, and New Japan guys. That'll be big.
The good thing about that forbidden door is it's been left ajar. All they have to do is walk through.
That's the one. That is the one. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great one. What a fun weekend. What a great way to close it. So until the next time, do guys check out Ministry of Wrestling on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, MOW News on Twitter. It's all there. We're there. So until the next time, Until the next time, I am the one AJ Anthony Jordan.
Ultimate Finesse, reigning defending MLW champ. Saying peace out, guys. Stay safe. If you can't stay safe, stay in your yard.
All right, we out.